Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This video will probably be coming out after I actually do the Skyblock episode on this. But as you can see, we are in a void here, and up against the wall in Skyblock, we have an actual normal world. And as you can see, there's some coal ore, there's some gold ore. Those are things we can't get in Skyblock, especially this diamond ore. I want it. So as you can probably tell, I'm in a creative version of the Skyblock world that I use to do my farm testing and my concept testing. And I've come over here to the border, and you'd think it would just be as easy as just walking up to that diamond ore and grabbing it. Well, there's a problem. Once you go past that world border of 1,000 in Skyblock, you get teleported back to spawn. Yeah. So we can't just walk up and mine it. We also can't reach far enough to get an actual water bucket there, because as you can see, just as we start getting close enough at that 1,000 mark, if you look up in the top left, 999, 1,000, boom, we get teleported back to spawn. I have recently started learning self-returning flying machines after I saw something that Mango had been working on. And so this is my machine that I've designed and built. That is a self-returning flying machine, meaning I don't have to build anything on that side. Once it reaches the end of its run, in other words, it reaches its push limit, it automatically turns itself back around and brings me back these diamond ores. And I'm actually going to, real quick before I run this, back this up, because I should have built this just a little bit farther back so that I'm not so close to the edge. Yeah. So there we go. I backed it up so I have a little bit more room to work with. But what we have here is we have a note block that's going to set off this original observer. That's going to kick off these two pistons down here to push these two forward. Honey and slime don't stick to each other, so they're separate slices. And then those are going to then power this observer because it now gets an update, which is then going to send a signal here and then pull the whole module forward. This is just a kind of a normal flying machine, although maybe kind of weirdly shaped with how I'm doing these pistons here and everything. But you'll notice this little extra bit right here. What this is what you want to do to get a self-returning flying machine is once the machine stops, update another observer to kick it off in the reverse direction, because that's normally just how we send a flying machine back anyways. So if we have the mechanism that turns around the flying machine attached to the flying machine, we can send it in and grab those diamond ores. So what's going to happen is when it hits push limit, now this piston is going to get powered and set off this observer and set off this piston, telling the machine to turn around and come back. And so I'm actually going to set this off here, and we are going to grab these diamonds. Look at that, 4 diamonds. Now all we'd have to do in normal Skyblock is just build a platform under here and then mine off the diamond ore, and we'd have ourselves some diamond ore. However, look at that. We got more diamond ore back there, and I want it. Problem is, once this inserts, it's going to actually grab those stone blocks that are surrounding it. So I designed this machine to be able to actually pick up all of the blocks surrounding the hole and the 2 blocks at the end of the hole so that this machine can keep going. And I'm going to send it off again, and we're going to see now I'm actually going to bring back 12 blocks with this machine. And that machine has been designed so that the shape that gets pulled out there will fit the entire machine in it without sticking. So there we go. There's our other 4 diamond ore. Beautiful. What I'm actually going to do here, though, is show is we can actually keep going with this. So this is meant to be a lightweight build because, A, there's a chance you might lose it. If you run into lava or water and it updates weird, it's going to be on the other side of that quote-unquote world border, and you're not going to be able to get it back. But who cares? We'll just send it like this, and then we can build it again because it's a pretty cheap machine. Once you have the resources in Skyblock. This is not an early game machine. But we can keep sending this forward, and so I'm just going to send this a few times and see if maybe we find something else. Look at that. We've just exposed some redstone ore. We can grab that. We've got some diorite here. I mean, yeah, technically you can craft diorite, so not really a big deal. But hey, maybe this is just, you know, you've got your honey farm, you've got your slime farm, you've got a little bit of quartz, but you don't have a lot, and you want to grab some more diorite. Sure, if you're weird, you can do it. But let's go ahead and grab that redstone ore. And look at that. Not only would we have diamond ore, but we would have redstone ore in our skyblock world. Redstone ore, you might be able to do something interesting with. I'd have to think about this more. But when you step on redstone ore, it actually changes state. So an observer could technically detect that. So that might be an interesting, unique block to have in skyblock. But as you look down the wall here, you see we've got all sorts of things. We've got iron, there's redstone, there should be some lapis probably exposed somewhere. There's a bunch of coal. Yeah, there's some lapis there. So, yeah, this is more about something to do for fun. This really isn't a practical, normal, vanilla Minecraft build because digging out a tunnel like this is going to take forever. And now, especially in skyblock, this is going to take a while. And once it reaches a certain point, there's no way you can keep it loaded because you can only go so far to load up chunks. You can crank up your render distance and get it going, but eventually it's going to reach a limit. Now you'll notice, even though I accidentally sent it too soon, I hadn't broken everything yet, it still comes back because it still hits the push limit and is able to return because of what that piston does right there. And we'll watch that. See, that piston's not firing off right now. As soon as it reaches the wall, that piston's going to fire off and tell the observer, hey, let's force this off, and it's going to start sending the machine back. And then I just have these two pieces of concrete in here in order to actually transmit the signals that I need to transmit. So I'm going to real quick hop into just a normal creative world so I don't have to worry about the world border and show you how this is working. So from this side, we can see the fairly standard version of a flying machine. You just have sticky block and a piston on each side that are going to push and pull each other. And then over here, we do have the honey slice. The reason we're using honey here is so that we don't hit the block limit just with this, because these don't count as coming together. And that's why we actually have down below 2 pistons. So one piston is pulling the honey side, one piston is pulling the slime side. Then we have just this concrete here that's covering those up. So this observer is actually sending signals to both of these pistons once we have that concrete in there. And oops, I popped that out. Let me pop that back in there. And then this is also sending a signal to this piston once it reaches the limit. Now, technically, this concrete block is not stuck to anything, but this observer is stuck to the rear of the engine, and this piston is stuck to the honey block of the front of the engine. So this is just between 2 stuck blocks, just getting pushed both ways, back and forth. But yeah, same thing here, except I can follow it this time to go over to the hole, and what we're going to see is that's going to go right in there, and on the side of the blocks and the front of the blocks, it's going to grab those ores or stone or whatever is there and send it back. So that's my design. I am going to put a schematic, but that's my design. This is about as lightweight as I could think to do it in the short amount of time that I did this. I got really excited about this, and so now I want to go do this in my hardcore skyblock world, which again is probably, you know, if I release this beforehand, it would kind of spoil the surprise of what I was planning for the next episode. So I think I'm going to leave this to private, maybe show it to a couple of people, but after that episode of Hardcore Skyblock comes out, I will show off this machine where I plan on gathering at least one of all the different types of ores as collector's items. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next time. Bye.